In this lecture, we are going to discuss about arrays, which is a pretty important data structure type that can be found in any programming language. We've seen previously how can we define single values in variables, so let's recap a bit. Let's define an integer and let's assign a random value to it. Whenever you see such a declaration, you know that somewhere in your memory there is a place that holds this value. However, you can store a list of values in a single variable, and this is called an array. Let's actually declare one, so the naming convention is to start with the name of the data type that you wish to store, so in my case is integer. Open some curly brackets to signal that the following is an array. Assign it a name, and that's it, you have declared a new array. But this array does not store any value at the moment. We don't even know how many values it can store at this point. Right now, this is just referencing some addresses in memory that are prepared to store some integer values. This may sound familiar to you, as the array is another example of a reference data type, even though we are storing int, which is a primitive data type. Let's see how we can define the size of the array. We will just specify our array by name, and we will say equals new int array, and inside the square brackets we specify the number of items that this array can store. I will put 3 in here. This now points to 3 different addresses in memory that can store 3 values. To store values, we need to reference it again, and we open a new set of square brackets, and then we need to specify the index. Important note is that all the indexes start with 0 in an array, so the first item in the array is 0, not 1 as you may be tempted to believe. So the first value of our array will be equal to 1. The second value will have the index of 1, and the value will be 2. The third and the last value will have the index of 2, and the value will be 3. So we successfully created an array with 3 integers, 1, 2, and 3. To read the values inside the array and print them in the console, you just need to specify system output println myArray and the desired index. Index 0 will print the first number of the array. Let's do the same for the other values as well, and let's run the code to see what output we get. So as you can see, the console prints the first value, the third value, and then the second value, because we call the second index of our array last. This is how you work with arrays in Java. There is also another way to create an array. By the way, in Java, the process of creating a new object, like we see on the screen, is called instantiation. So let's see how we can instantiate an array using a different method. You can do it in a single line like this, but you can also do it like this. myArray second, and here you are going to specify your values in curly brackets. Using this last method, you won't have to specify the size anymore, because it will be calculated based on the number of items you placed inside the curly brackets. So we won't have to specify this explicitly anymore. That's it. We covered the basics about arrays. Join me in the next lecture where we are going to discuss about operators.